Hey everyone, this is Carrie, and I am here on behalf of Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. And it is a true pleasure to be joined today by my secret H friend, I'm a former RHAPer, but no longer friend. Well, he might still be one, I'm not. By my pilot season friend, none other than MJC season. Michael, how are you doing today? Tell the people about yourself.
KD, I am super duper excited to be here. I love being in the guest chair because it's a lot less pressure. I feel like you started the chat, so the ball's in your court right now, and you can say whatever you want to say, and I'm just I'm here to follow. I'm happy. I'm psyched. For those who are uninformed and don't know who I am, my name is Mike. I go by MJC, usually online, and I have a podcast. Wait, let me just make sure. Okay, I still do for the next 5 episodes. But no, I have a podcast called Pilot Season, wherein we look at the first episodes of TV shows. I have had the pleasure of having my friend Carrie join me twice, once and a half, I'll say. And it's always a good time talking to Carrie, and we both love The Circle. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been getting just brief snippets of commentary from Michael, and and so I can only imagine what the next however long this is going to hold for us. So we are focusing on Tuesdays through Fridays episodes 7 through 10. I can't believe I've already watched 10 episodes of this show because it feels like, I feel like it hasn't been that many, but then there's times where I'm like, I am watching a lot of Circle in a short amount of time. How do the Brits do this with all of their reality TV shows in the UK? Because it's all condensed. Everything is on 5 to 6 nights a week. They quarantine. They did this before quarantine. Do people? I don't understand. How do they do this?
And they're coming off of the celebrity version also, which is an extra week. Pretty crazy.
Well, shows like Love Island is on 6 days a week for the whole summer. Yeah. It's crazy. And that show has so many viewers that I don't understand how they watch TV this way. It's a lot.
I get behind on Big Brother seasons, and that's just 3 days a week. And it's crazy.
Well, yeah, their Big Brother, when they did it, was the same schedule as this. It's nuts. But I don't know how they do it. It's very intense. I find myself watching 4 hours at a time to catch up to get ready for this, and it's crazy. So we're going, it seems back forever ago, but episode 7. So we start our episode with Gemma being told that she has 24 hours to complete her mission. And as a friendly reminder, her mission is that she's an assassin. So, in the UK, they don't use guns though. So I guess she has a big knife instead. I'm not sure what weapon she would choose, but it's definitely not a gun because that's America's thing. So back the fuck off, England. And so she had to choose someone to block. And if that person gets blocked, then she's safe. If anybody else gets blocked, Gemma's gone. And she starts off by corralling her geezer birds in Manrika and Tally.
I'm sorry. So, the 2 geezer birds and the blonde one.
Yeah. And what's funny is Manrika was like, this is a dude because girls don't call themselves birds. It's the equivalent of a man calling a woman a broad over here. It's one of those things that they do it, but it's slightly insulting. She called that out.
I have been on the opposite side of I called you a broad on a podcast once, and you immediately were like, no, we're not doing that.
I'd rather be called a bitch than a broad, to be honest. I feel like a broad has the connotation of being stupid, and I am many things, but I don't think stupid is one of them. So, it's the equivalent. So Manrika kind of called that out, which I thought was really interesting. So here's what I have that came from that conversation, then we could talk about it. Manrika said she'd never call herself a bird, so Gemma's a dude. cool. Actually, she said a bloke, but whatever. Tally puts Billy as a catfish out there first, and Manrika agrees. And they blame the party picture. So the back in the at a party picture part of an event, he put up this like weird smirking picture that it looked like it was his first time getting drunk, and he thought like this is what made him look cool, but it was actually like question mark. What are you doing? Manrika still driving home the point that like I want Gemma to be on my side, but I'm not on Gemma's side. She has no problem turning on Gemma, but we see the Tally Gemma relationship forming a bit here. So what did you think of all this?
All right, so this is going to start a theme over the next few episodes that has become one of my favorite subplots of the circle, and it's Manrika's absolute hatred of Gemma. Manrika hates Gemma so much, and it takes a while for Gemma to like start to realize like it. We'll get there like eventually at the end of these episodes. Like she'll start to be like, oh, like maybe Manrika doesn't find me like one of the girls and like doesn't like love me. But no, Manrika hates Gemma, and what the circle will do a lot, and I love whenever they do this, and they did this a lot in season 2 with Tim and oh wow, I can't even remember her name right now. But anyway, so where they'll have a conversation and the editing is so fantastic where like the conversation will end and one of them will be like, wow, like that was a terrible conversation. And then you'll see the other side and that person's like, I nailed that. That was fantastic. Like everyone looked. So like we see this, we're going to see this constantly in the next couple episodes where Tally and Manrika, for like being so close and being like each other's bestie in the circle, have completely different reads on Gemma and on their conversations with Gemma, where Tally's just like, oh, I love Gemma now, and Manrika's flipping off the screen. It's fantastic. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's like the difference of like a first date like view. Like the woman leaves and is like, that dude sucked, and the guy's like, yeah, that went great. I'll call her again. It's that just like at least 4 times an episode with almost any private chat that happens or group chat. Someone
Carrie, I cannot relate to that, so you'll have to. I'll take your word for it, but I can't relate at all.
I mean, the roles could be flipped. It's fine. Yeah, I do think that you're right that we have this ongoing developing theme of just Manrika, if she had the opportunity to run Gemma over with any large vehicle, she would do it. Like
in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it could be a double-decker bus, it could be a single-decker bus, it could be like a Hot Wheels car. She wouldn't care. She would absolutely take her up or take anyone up on the offer to just offer. See ya.
Do you agree that was Billy the only choice for Gemma here? Was Billy like the choice to try to get blocked? And of course, like results like, oh, of course it was, like clearly. But I think this was really smart of her. Like this was the only person that this could have worked on.
Yeah, I 100% agreed with how Gemma broke it down of, okay, I can't go after these people. So by process of elimination, in addition to the seeds of doubt that have been put out there already, that it would be easiest to turn or get people to turn on Billy in terms of blocking him. So yeah, I think that it was the only choice. I don't think Gemma stood a chance otherwise. It was either Billy or Gemma.
Nope.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. My dog is currently being vocal, so sorry in advance. He's growling at probably another dog. All right, so we've got some other relationships forming through some conversations. We get Saeed chatting with Felix, and we get Saeed like asking what I'm assuming comes from a standard list of arranged marriage questions. I don't know, despite the fact that I have requested an arranged marriage plenty of times out loud to the universe. Just pair me with someone. I'm sick of trying to find this. If my boyfriend is watching this, I'm sorry for saying that. I like being with you. But before you, I was like, pair me with anyone. I don't give a fuck at this point. I just want someone who might cook me dinner corner from time to time. Um, so what did you think? First of all, what is your opinion of Hashu, aka Uncle Saeed? Like, how are you feeling about him?
All right. I adore Hashu.
I would have bet my whole next paycheck on you saying that, to be honest.
Absolutely. I think he's so endearing. And like, and we'll get into it, but I think he's playing an excellent game where he's like, has really good relationships with a lot of individual people, and he's got his finger on the pulse. He's like doing deductive reasoning, and he's had like where people like Andy and Tally, who cares about Tally, but people like Andy and Tally have come out and said like to not even like in the chat, but like to in the confessionals, like to their empty apartments. They're like, you know what, like Saeed might not be who he says he is, but I don't care. I love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like just so like pure and innocent, but not in I'm not gonna be kind to Vithin during this.
Forewarning.
like Vithin is a nothing burger to me. Like
yeah.
I think they were trying something with Vithin, and it's just I don't think that he's giving them exactly what he could right now. And so I really like Hashu a lot. I will say that one of my favorite bit of Brit speak that we get, that Felix likes to say this a lot, but Felix says this when Saeed but says this is jokes, and I just like love the expression "this is jokes," and like I'm sure there have been, but like I want there to be like a British comedian who just has an album called "This Is Jokes." It's just like such a I don't know why it like tickles me so much, but I love that expression.
Yeah, I personally think that Hashu, aka Uncle Saeed, is killing it, and especially in a season that's so heavy on like, we're gonna get the catfish, we're gonna get the catfish. You have Andy, who is like the moral compass of not just the circle, but of the universe, apparently. Who's like, dude's probably a catfish, but I like him so much that I don't even care. Like, that's how good he's doing. And in addition, just like the little nuances, the way that he's so consistent in like English being the second language for Uncle Saeed, and how you can see that clearly in the chats. Bringing
like he clearly knows Saeed, and like has a reverence to him, and like does like a great impression of him, and like we're seeing that. Like,
100%.
And I know, like, you know, white guy. I don't really get a say in this. I'm not offended by the voice. Like,
I think that it goes with like with the bit and kind of like with his culture as well, because he is Bangladeshi. So like I do think that he like is allowed to.
It's his way to get into character. Like if I were playing like a Southern guy on the circle, like I might put a twang in what I say. I will not do it right now because my twang is not good.
My twang needs to be warmed up. It's currently cold. The oven is preheating. I will put my twang in soon at 450 degrees.
I'll ask Billy how to operate the oven. I'm sure he has a lot of.
I resonate with Billy. I literally lit quesadillas on fire within the last few months. So in the oven with the broiler, that was me. That's like how my life ended on Clue. It was Carrie in the kitchen with the broiler.
With the quesadillas.
The quesadillas. When Billy says that, I'm like, I feel you, fam.
Was this as cringy for you as it was for me? Like, it just like
the arranged marriage stuff.
Yes, yeah.
See, I was cracking up because like what confuses me is not Uncle Saeed, because like this is him, that we get the bit. It's great because he doesn't break that character with anyone. But I guess what got me was Natalia, aka Felix, being like, I'm gonna play along with it, but was not able to return the level of banter at like Saeed level. I got that she was playing along, obviously, but I was kind of like, I wish you made it a little bit more of a joke, because it actually does seem like you might trade a cow for her hand in marriage soon. And I don't know if we get that it's a joke.
Mm. Mm.
So that's kind of like where I felt with that. Hey, dog, can you not chew the wood? That would be great. He was sleeping before this. I wish he would quit sleeping. Okay, so all right, we have an arranged marriage coming in hot, and then we've got Billy chats Gemma. So Billy still here at this point. God bless him. So Gemma is like, I think what's interesting about the Gemma character is he tries to play her up as so sweet or whatever, and he always like says she's the sweet nurse, everyone but then Gemma comes in guns blazing into like every conversation. It's just like, so Billy, you say you miss your mom? Your mom? Are you your mom?
Your mom.
Did I say mom? Are you your mom? Where's your mom right now? Like, shit, Gemma, calm down. We get it. You think Billy's his mom. Billy's mom even knows that like Gemma's feeling that.
I will say one thing, and we'll talk a lot about Gemma as you know these things go. But one thing that Gemma says that's like pretty smart, I think, is when Billy starts this conversation where she like out and out says, you know what, like there's no point in trying to play coy because one of us is gone anyway.
Yeah.
Like either he's gone or I'm gone in the next 12 hours. So like I'm just going to go there and I'm going to. It reminded me of this is a bad memory, but Wes Welker before like they played the Jets in like the AFC championship game like years ago, and he kept referencing feet in his press conference as like trying to troll Rex Ryan, and then he got like suspended for a quarter because Bill Belichick like doesn't have a sense of humor at all. But it just like reminded me of that. It was very funny.
Yeah, Gemma, I do appreciate that, like the wherewithal that Gemma had to just be like, fuck it, it's what's gonna happen. I get blocked, like
yeah.
Okay. If I don't get blocked, Billy's getting blocked. So this conversation doesn't happen.
They are setting up like how much of a villain it's going to be when it's revealed to like everyone that Gemma is James. Like, cause like so many times they have this like clip of people saying like, if he's not a nurse, like that's really fucked up. And so like they're really setting up that like it's not going to be pretty when everyone finds out that this is like an American gladiator who like refuses to sit on a couch and just like sits on the floor all the time.
I do appreciate him though. Like
this season's like so much better because he's there and he's playing so hard. Like, I love James.
James, I thought plateaued as Gemma very early on, but I think this whole assassin thing really like kicked him in the ass.
Yep.
And we got to see like a high level of like almost desperate gameplay, I guess you could say. But it definitely did make for some interesting television, certainly. All right, so we've got those early conversations happening. Then we get to Sketchy Circle. It's a game. And I don't think anything too monumental comes out of this. However, I lost my shit when Billy guessed Burger, Pray, Love as the title of that.
And no one picked up on it. Like, oh, it should be
like, how do you not even comment one, like, Billy, you're an idiot, or two, like, yeah, exactly what you said. How did no one take that and be like, oh, pray, love, eat, pray, love? But Billy so confidently saying Burger, Pray, Love. What the fuck, Billy?
Meanwhile, like, Andy's on the team. Like, you feel like Andy like should be an intelligent guy. Like, should, like, no. That's a thing. So one thing that I love about loved about this game is, again, we're seeing that Hashu really knows how to play strategically because he's smart enough to know everything that Manrika's writing, but he's like, Saeed wouldn't know this, so I'm not going to say anything. But he's like, dancing. He's like, oh, I know this, which is like, it's perfect. He's a perfect character.
I wrote that down too. That like again, it's just another one of those nuances that he is really came into this prepared and also isn't like cracking under the pressure. For me, I would be like so caught up in the excitement of winning something that I would just I would
out.
Yeah, because I hate losing. I don't care. So it would 100% be me and people being like, wait a second, how do you know this? So after the game, we get Gemma chatting Dot and Felix. Gemma is the queen of group chats.
she loves them.
Yeah, Gemma is constantly in a group chat. If you can't find her, just check the local group chat. That's where she is. So it's called Welcome Newbies Chat, which I thought was kind of interesting on Felix's part to be like, well, this is titled Newbies. Clearly, Gemma doesn't see us as her equals. We're the new people. And it's like, okay, Felix, like I don't know if I would have picked up on that, but it is a slight in a way, especially if you've watched previous seasons, just like how that OG newbie alliance thing that storyline almost always happens and how things get like split that way that for Gemma being in such like a desperate spot, I guess a little mistake, but just something interesting that I thought that Felix picked up on. So Gemma throws Billy under the bus as a catfish, and then Gemma again comes in with her gun blazing and is like, oh, by the way, Dot, Billy says you're a catfish too.
Yep.
And so it's like, wow, you are driving the bus. Don't worry, Manrika's going to steal that from you and like run you over with it, but you are driving the bus right now. Anything you want to say about our group chat of Gemma, Dot, and Felix, the newbies?
I think that, give credit to Felix and Dot that they're seeing right through Gemma. Like you said, her her sphere of influence isn't as great as she thinks it is. I think that coming in last in the game in the previous episode really kind of kicked her ass into high gear and and like it's almost like she's overcorrecting now, where she's like I was and I was in trouble, so like now I need to like make the most aggressive of moves, and I need to like be in every group chat. I need to be throwing out a name and like telling lies that are easily checkable.
Yeah.
She
like Billy doesn't even know the winner of the World Cup.
Yeah. And I think there are ways that she could have said to Andy that like she has high suspicion of Billy without throwing in that like specific thing of like, oh, he knows nothing about footy. And I think that like I appreciate how hard that she played this. And I appreciate that like, she was the odds-on favorite to be blocked. She did a lot of work to make sure that Billy was, but we'll see when Billy comes to see her afterwards, where like she says outright like, "Hey, like I'm following you out the door. Like I'm probably next. Like I'm like this is really like ruined my game."
Yeah, well, especially because not only I didn't know if they would announce like Gemma was the assassin or not.
Yeah, that was surprising.
But also, oh, look, Nitro's making an appearance on screen, trying to just keep me alive. There's my dog, everyone. He hurts so bad right now. Ow. After this statement, I'm going to like let him out on the balcony so he stops terrorizing me. So sorry, we're going to take a commercial break on an unsponsored podcast.
Yes.
Oh my God. Anyway. He just loves the circle as well. He wants to get his opinion in. I know. I almost just text Brett to be like, SOS. So what I was going to say is that it also comes together that Gemma was lying to people because Billy soon chats with Andy, and Andy quickly realizes like, okay, Gemma's lying because Billy knows his shit about football. Like, so she came in and
Billy football, if you will.
Ooh, too much of him. He needs to go. There's my PMT take for the day. So,
no, but here's the important
it becomes
thing,
evident that Gemma was not just trying to save herself, but like telling lies in the process.
Yeah. Now, who knows with the editing, like if maybe things didn't happen the way that they did, but the way that it's shown on the show is Billy and Andy had this chat after the ratings. Mm-hmm. Where if this happens before the ratings, like this could be different because Andy ranks Billy 6.
Yeah.
And if this chat happens before the ratings, and like who knows where Andy puts him, probably doesn't put him 6, and like it's less of a slam dunk that he's going to be the one that goes. That he's going to be like at risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree, and I do think that, like you said, and even Gemma said, like, this has fucked my game up too. Like, I'm not much longer for this. Okay, we're gonna take 2 seconds to get my dog to stop being a jerk. Hold on.
Absolutely.
Nitro, you hurt.
So some interesting things about the ratings. Gemma puts Tally 1, Tally puts Manrika 1, Dot puts Manrika 1. Billy puts Vithin 1, and this is the first time that like Vithin's really been in this episode. And so my issue with what Vithin's doing is that just like he came in talking a big game about like, oh, like I am like a student of psychology and I'm able to sniff everything out. And like he's just being like he's just not being that. I think he's kind of cracking under what the circle is. And like he's just I don't know. I want to like Vithin more than I do, but there's no there for me with him.
Yeah, you think I think Vithin is best when he's anonymous. We've seen Vithin stir the pot.
Yeah, like I like when he's
at like
Tally just to be a troll. Like that's my kind of shit. But like,
yeah, he definitely is. He's better when he's anonymous. I don't think that he has the confidence to do these bolder things when his name is attached to it. But we see him be a little bit of a jerk in some anonymous. I love.
Oh yeah.
Bring it on. Okay, so the Billy chat happens, and then we get the rankings, the ratings. I always mix those two up, but whatever. So Billy's in last, and then in 4th place we have 3 people. We have Gemma, Saeed, and Vithin. In 3rd is Tally, and then 2nd is Andy, and 1st is Manrika. So our influencers are Andy and Manrika, and this is a straight block where they get to decide, the 2 of them, who's going to go.
Why is Andy singing everything?
I don't know. I found myself doing that like yesterday for some reason too. So like,
he'd be like, "Yeah, Manrika, I agree. Like, I'm your circle, bro. Sand." He just started this thing where he can't say the word sand. It has to be like sand.
I mean, they're in these apartments by themselves for how long that if I were ever on the circle, you would see you would be like, hey, Karen, like, I don't know, you'd get my mom's phone number and be like, can you admit her to some sort of institute after this? Because she's going to need it. Like, I do. So I sympathize because I would be doing dumber shit than that. 100%.
Okay. So we reached the point where this is, and I messaged you about this, I messaged a couple other people about this, but like something that just like annoys me on a level. So Manrika and Andy are talking in the influencer chat about who between Gemma and Billy to block. And Andy a couple times says, you know, I was really suspicious that Billy's mom was actually Billy. And that, you know, it's the mother, it's not who we're seeing. But I had a conversation with Billy, and Billy knew a lot about football, so it can't be Billy's mom. In 2021, why the fuck not?
Exactly.
Why can't a woman know about football? What is that? Andy, you are the father of daughters. Like, stop with that. Just, that's such an antiquated, outdated thing that just because it's a mother doesn't mean that she can't know sports. What is that?
She's too busy in the kitchen making sandwiches. She doesn't get to watch sports.
Oh
and then she's doing the laundry. She's constantly birthing children. She's
I don't
cleaning
think
house.
you're trying to be misogynistic when you do that, but like it just is. It's
And
just like
the thing that kind of got me was that carries on, and especially some of the geezer girls also like use that as reasoning against Billy when they were like Tally is like, oh my god, I love I almost said soccer, football, whatever, you know what I mean, like
footy,
same thing. Yeah, that especially when the women said it. But yeah, why can't Billy's mom know? Like literally British people like one thing, and it's soccer. So like it's not surprising when a woman likes it too.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I know you messaged me about it. And especially once you said it, I picked up on it more, and then I found myself getting angry, and I'm like, God damn it, Michael. Like let me watch this in peace.
My mother can name Yankees. Like you know?
Yeah. So you have an absolute point there. I agree.
And this is where Tuesday ends, right?
I have episode ends in my thing. So Tuesday ends, and then 13 seconds later, the next episode comes up. Just kidding. It's a full day later, but it just seems so fast, so much. So we start our second episode, and that's where the blocking happens. And our influencers say that based on their catfish suspicions, they block Billy.
Again, I'm going to shout out the editors. Fantastic. Great job. Because we don't see it. We just see Gemma's reaction to it coming up. And it's like a surprised reaction. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh my God, is it her or is it Billy? Is it her or is it Billy? And you just see the word Billy. And it's just like, I think the editors of The Circle are like some of the best editors in reality television.
Yeah,
like, I think they're good. Awesome.
I do have to say here that I don't like to deal in what ifs, but if Andy and Manrika had blocked Gemma here, Andy cements himself as having like the best eye for figuring out catfish.
Yep,
hands down. Like this little bit of revisionist history, and it's crazy, but he didn't do it. So sucks, Andy.
Nope. Also, if we're playing the what if game, what happens if Andy and Manrika block Vithin, for example?
Yeah.
Is it a double elimination?
No, or just Gemma goes home.
It's only Gemma, or is it
I'm pretty
both
confident it's just Gemma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. that would have been crazy.
And I mean, I do take from this, like, good on Gemma. Gemma went balls to the wall.
Yes.
To stay, and Gemma pulled it off. Yep. It obviously came down to the decision of two people, but the influence she had on those decisions and being able to pull it off, I was impressed. I was like, all right, you got to give it up to her here.
Give it up. Yep.
You might have lied. I don't know if you didn't really cheat. You didn't steal. So you lied a lot, but you did it.
Yeah. Now, Billy is told that about the assassin situation, and then he's told you can go see you will see the assassin.
Yeah, it doesn't have a choice.
Do you like the fact that he was forced to see Gemma? Like, of course, that's great for drama, but like, do you think he would have seen her if like he had the option?
I feel like he might have gone and seen Vithin since they were boys, and Billy is a very like basic person.
Yeah, in that case, congrats to the editors for making that choice.
I do wish they gave him like, you have to see the assassin, and well, no, I guess they can't let him go see someone else after, because then you risk him like,
saying,
so,
hey,
yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, like, oh, guess where I just was. I do wish that they like let him be armed with like a Nerf gun or something, so he could kind of like go in and like pretend to be an assassin too. I do think that there could have been some more comedic effect to this, but
I feel like Gemma never gets the alert that Billy's on the way, because Gemma's just like, I'm gonna get into
No,
my
'cause-
robe, like I'm done for the night, and just like
That was the
Billy
thing.
shows
I
up, is like,
was
is it dogs?
yeah. When Billy walks in, is it just 2 dogs in his room? Yeah, like the circle has created the technology to translate barks into circle chats. It's fucking crazy, man. 2021 is a
Billy.
wild time. Like people were
Sweet,
so
sweet
bored
boy.
during the pandemic that they were able to create this technology. Yo, I was cracking up at that a lot. That was good by Billy. That was very good by Billy. Is it
What a
just 2
sweetie.
dogs in this room?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that I thought was funny was like Gemma had his like Billy catfish board, right? And
yes.
so I noticed during their conversation that it looked like either had been cleared off. I didn't realize that he had turned the cork board around. So they're talking or whatever, and then Gemma's finally like, okay, let me show you this, and shows the Billy detective board and how he has like the dress drawn underneath Billy's picture, and it's just like, this is me showing that I think you're my
blacked out. Like
that was good. That was, I mean, like, I don't know how did he ask for a printed out picture of Billy? I'm not sure. Like, did they give it to him?
Maybe.
I also loved how when Billy comes in, he's like, wow, you're a lot bigger than I expected, Gemma.
So on like on the range of like on a scale of like 1 to 10, like 1 being like the best sport ever to like 10 being like the most salty and mad you could be, like where would you put Billy here?
I would say probably like a 2.5. I thought
really?
he was.
I thought he was super salty. Like,
see,
I thought he was big mad.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe just because I know how angry I'm capable of getting, and I thought that he handled himself so well. Because I would have went in there just like once I found out like all the details and everything, just like middle fingers up, like fuck you, your mom, your dad, your dogs, your whole family, like. I want to light the place on fire. You know what I mean? Like that's so, especially with him just, I don't know, like the jokes of like, are there just 2 dogs here? Is it like you're a lot bigger? I don't know. I think I might have been a bit angrier because I also understand like it's a game, and yeah, he did choose Billy, and Billy even said like, if I was the opposite, I would have chosen you to try and block.
Yeah.
That it is a game at the end of the day, and Gemma did complete the mission, so I thought that he handled it well. You thought that he was really angry?
I think that James was like kind of like joking a little bit, and like there were times when they cut to Billy and he like looked like he was like biting the inside of his cheeks. Like I think he was like I think he was kind of ticked off and kind of like annoyed about it, but maybe 7.5 was harsh. Maybe it was like more in the middle.
I mean,
on the way
out,
don't think that like he was like cool about it. I think
I thought he was, but maybe I'm just comparing him to myself.
But not angry.
I would be too.
You'd be angry, Kara.
Yeah. I did appreciate on the way out when he was like, I mean this in the nicest way possible, but fuck you.
I'm definitely given one of those on my way out the door of one of these like LRG annoying games. Like,
give me an exit
I'm being here for 6 hours. I'll be out in 20 minutes. Like, go F all of you.
Give me an exit speech. I have some things to let some people know. So we go to the news feed and we have the video from Billy. Everybody's shocked that he's real, and a lot of people that got lied to by Gemma the wheels start turning like, uh-oh, did I just get played?
What's going on?
Yeah. And so here's what I didn't expect. This next alert.
Yep.
When the circle was like, by the way, there's this whole secret mission. And I love how Saeed's like, there's secret missions. I came to just play a little game in the circle. And there's secret missions going on. Like his reaction was funny. But
oh my days.
Yeah, when they were like, by the way, if Gemma had gone blocked, she was gone, and Gemma chose to try and get Billy blocked, and you guys blocked Billy, so like Gemma's immune next time. I didn't expect them to admit that. Like, I expected maybe for them to say there was an assassin. You don't know who was the assassin because you would have gotten a lot of like finger pointing in the circle chat, but the circle was like, no, cut that shit, and was like, by the way, it's Gemma. Gemma's just like, fuck.
Yeah. and she's immune, where like she can't be blocked in the next cycle, which ends up like being big for her because she may have been blocked.
Yeah, 100%. And then they open the circle chat
before like the circle like ratted on Gemma being the assassin. Do you think it would have been smart for Gemma to like get out in front and be like, hey guys, like if you think I've been acting weird, it's because like I was the assassin and like, you know, that explains it? Or do you think she should have like kept it to herself if the circle didn't say like it was specifically so-and-so?
So I think it would have depended on one thing. If the circle said there was an assassin, the assassin completed their mission, the assassin is immune, I would have not told anyone. Because I think enough shit would happen between that very moment and the next time someone could get blocked that
would have been like that would have been crazy. It would have been like an immunity idol where like, only Gemma knows that like they're immune. And they try to block her, and then like circle's just like, sorry. Like,
I do think it would have,
we're back.
Like, it would have been pieced together. I think Andy probably would have pieced it together. There's a good chance Saeed would, because he's figured out almost everything.
Yes.
The only thing Andy can't figure out is his puzzle on his coffee table. Dude has made no progress for being in a room for however long. Like, I've finished puzzles bigger in a way shorter amount of time. So that's the only thing he can't figure out. But yeah, I think that if that was the case where they said all of it, but they didn't announce that, like Gemma was I wouldn't have told anyone. And then because I mean, like, let the speculation happen. There's no one that can prove it. And I think Gemma James is a good enough liar and deflector to put enough shade on someone else to make them think it was them. So I don't know. I don't think I would have.
Okay, cool.
The circle chat, though.
Felix getting a little saucy.
Yeah. Who the fuck is Felix? All right. Like, first of all, you're named after a cat. Shut the fuck up. Second, he's coming in here as a goddamn catfish, being like, your integrity and morals. Like,
go scratch.
Shut the fuck up. Who died? Did Andy die and make you the moral compass of the circle? I don't think so.
Yeah. You know, again, like, and like, if you want to say like, oh, like it's questionable that James is pretending to be a nurse. Natalia's pretending to be like a man in the armed services.
Yeah,
like, that's not great either.
I just don't. I
don't
get it.
It's specifically like again, that's a point of the circle and catfishing in the circle, but like leading this woman on. Like, he's got no leg to stand on here.
The other thing that kind of struck me as a little bit just stupid, I don't have a nicer word for it, is the person who did this. You also know the person is immune. So you're out here being like, fuck your morals or lack thereof. It doesn't matter. They're not going anywhere next round, but you could be. So I don't know why you're out here rocking the boat this much, especially as a catfish. But okay, do your thing, Felix. Like, whatever. I understood Felix getting upset with being like, all of you are being so nice to their face and like behind the back is saying something different, but that's called being polite. That's what you do.
Yep.
And Felix is like, nah, dog, me and my muscles are out here and we're going to show you what's up.
Yeah. If you want to win a reality game without being fake, then like, God bless. Like, nice try. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, you're going to be fake. It's It's a game.
And you're a catfish. Like,
oh my god. Yes, yeah, you're a fake with a capital F.
Minor detail there.
I think it's crazy how long we've been talking, and we'll have a lot more scenes with her and a lot more reasons to talk about her coming up. But we haven't talked about Manrika a whole lot at all.
Oh, I'm ready to build my shrine for her when the moment comes. I think that
Manrika does what she does really well is that she is very openly to the audience, like to her empty hotel room, how much she despises Gemma, but is like really good at like keeping it to herself and not like firing off like the sassy message that Felix does, where she's like, I agree, but I'm not going to put that out there. Like
Gemma's social game, Gemma's strategy. I mean, not Gemma. What the fuck am I saying? Man, take it all back. Rewind. Edit that out. Just kidding. Yes. We're live. So Manrika's social game, Manrika's strategy is top tier. I have already tweeted, I want to see her on any social strategy game. So for those of you who have connections like Dylan Hayda, go and get this girl on EQ. Like, let me see her in all of these situations because I think that she could thrive in any of them. Yeah, I trust me, I went to her Instagram today because girl's not on Twitter, and there is an email you can contact. And if you think I'm not going to try and weasel my way into getting Manrika to show up on this live stream, the worst they can say is no. Like, exactly. Okay, turn me down. Won't be the first time. Won't be the last time. It's okay.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I don't even know if I had anything to say.
So moving on from this conversation, just a note that I wrote in my notes is I want that floating chair. I want the floating chair that's in the yoga room because
that's real sick.
It just looks really cool, and I would be in it like all the time.
That is a very cool chair. I haven't thought about having it in my room per se, but I have thought that's a cool chair.
Then we got the Circle Siblings chat.
I love the Circle Siblings concept. Okay. I think that if the three of them could come together as an alliance, it could be like a genuine, let's be strategic and not just talk about our feelings. Because I do think that they're more of like an emotional support for each other and less of a game support for each other. They could run the game. And I also think it would up Vithin in your stock book for.
Probably.
So what do you think of the Circle Sibling chat?
So I think that, we talked about Manrika's social game. I think that she is doing a great job of just being, it's like having a thing with everyone. Where like she has her thing with Tally, she has her thing with Felix, like, we'll talk about her thing with Felix. But like she has like her relationship with Uncle Saeed and then like the Circle Siblings. Like that's how you make it far in the game. I'm worried for Manrika. I'm worried for her end game. Just because I think we've seen enough with previous Circle seasons, and we saw it in the, we saw it in the celebrity version, where it's getting to the point where like you might want to start turning it off, like pretty close to now, and like being a little not as like not as much of a front runner, because right now I think that her and Andy are in a bad position. I think they're both kind of front runners right now, and you don't want to be an influencer a week into a 2 week in. It's just like it's not a great it's not a great spot right now.
She even said that. She's like, it wasn't in my game plan to be an influencer this soon when she was like appointed, nominated, not nominated, but like ranked as one. So she definitely has that awareness of it, where I think that's what makes her different from Andy, where I think Andy's like, haha, I'm here again. Awesome. I'm still liked. And Manrika's like, fuck. Yeah. But I also think that the difficulty in that is the reason she's so high up there is because of the connection she has. And you can't just like pull away from it's harder to pull away from a friendship than it is to like try and dig deeper and like make connections.
Mhm.
So if she does that, I think that comes across as weird, and I think it's harder to recover from. So I think she's at the point where she has to like trust the connections she's made and hope that something like other things keep happening that put targets on other people for blockings.
What I do like about the Circle Siblings chat whenever it happens is, you know, like you said, it's something that like Vithin's able to do to just like seem human, and like he's, you know, like I think he like wants to play villainously, but like at his core, I think he's like a sweet kid who like just wants to belong, and like I you know. I know that I was pretty hard on him earlier, but like, you know, on a human level, like I understand that, and like I feel for you. I just like don't think it's the most interesting TV right now.
Yeah. I do think that something that does come out of this is we get to again see that one of the reasons that Manrika is so good is she's apologizing to Vithin not for game reasons. She's apologizing because she genuinely is afraid of having hurt someone that she likes.
Yeah.
But the way that her gameplay can overlap her actual personality and be genuine, I think that like that just is something that comes with her personality. But what's cool is we get to see then like the 180 of that when she's telling Gemma that like she wants to throw up every time she sees her name on the screen and is still able to be so nice. But I like when we get to see like genuine Manrika, because you see that she like some of the things she's doing aren't game things, and I do think that's one of the reasons she'll be able to stay around for someone who is good at this. Yeah.
I hope so.
When Manrika goes, I go. So that's my opinion on this. We get a conversation between Felix and Dot after this. So Felix initiates this conversation, and they're just trying to get get each other like aligned. They're the new people. Let's kind of stick together.
And they bond over not trusting Gemma.
Exactly. I almost phrased it that way exactly in my notes. However, the funniest thing to me in this was when Scott was like pretending to hold Felix from behind and just like in dreaming of how good looking he is. I think that I get that you need someone to come in and play the old person catfish and try to pull it off. Like I understand the reasoning for this, but we really miss out on having Scott as himself.
I agree.
He would have been amazing. Oh yeah, you messaged me that. I'm like, who the fuck is Scott? And it was like, oh, I actually just finished watching the episode 10 minutes ago. Like the first one he came in.
Yeah, I'm an expert. I think he's so fun and such a dynamic character. And like Carrie, we know a lot of Scotts, and they're just like they're a joy, and they're like so much fun. And even when like they're not as much fun and they're like kind of grating, like a part of you is still like, you'd be really good on a show like this. Whereas I don't know about Natalia. I don't know if like Natalia came in as herself, if she'd be doing as well as she's doing as Felix.
No, because I think people would assume that because she's like a hot military policewoman that she's a catfish. Like it's okay for military men to be hot, but not okay for military women. I'm not saying that and I believe it. I'm saying that I think that's like a thing that they would latch on to. Like Billy's mom shouldn't know this or doesn't know about football type of thing. I do think that wouldn't. I think that she would fare the same fate as the first girl with the AK-47 that got kicked off of Circle US. I don't remember her name, but like the blonde model.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think it would be a pretty similar situation.
Yep.
We get, after that conversation, we have Gemma trying to go back. She's really, really trying to be one of the girls. And I just wish someone would just be like, she doesn't even go here. Like Mean Girls her, please stop it. Just stop trying to force yourself in this. However, it does kind of like work a little bit. But anyway, yeah, we have the Geezer Girls rises from the ashes. Like, what goddamn Danielle Steele novel is this?
She's trying too hard. She's trying too hard. And I think one of the many reasons why you love Manrika is that I feel like Manrika has a lot of Carrie energy, a lot with like just eye rolling in these like group chats and being like, LOL, this is phenomenal. And you're like, get me out of here.
I don't do group
chats. By the way,
chats.
if anyone watching this right now that's in one of Carrie's group chats, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about her other group chats.
No. That's the thing. People are smart enough to not put me in group chats because they know that I'm a dick in them. Yeah, because all I'm like, the only group chat I'm in is in that family that accidentally added me 5 years ago and has not realized that I'm in their
favorite saga on Twitter is that
I legit thought I was going to get exposed. Okay, quick sidebar story time. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I don't know why not, because...
How dare you? Her at's right in her name right there.
Yeah, follow me. However, so I had to download GroupMe, which is like a group chat app, and for a softball team that I'm playing on. It's new. I only know one person on it. And I see them already in another chat, and I thought it was like, you know how sometimes apps will give you like a fake like demo thing? And I thought it was that. And so I open it. It's called Hershey Adventures. This thing has existed for almost 5 years. And so I'm scrolling through. I'm like, what is this? This is a legit family whose group chat, they accidentally added me to it. And so I decide that when I get added to this, it just so happens that day a baby was born in their family and they like posted pictures. And so I'm literally like, happy birthday, baby. Like, looks exactly like mom. I'm not joking. These are things I'm saying. And
Throwing heart reacts.
Yeah, that's it though. That's the thing is like, no one's called me out on this because it says my name is Dylan, but it's my picture. I'm not Dylan. So, that like no one's calling me out. They're liking the things that I'm posting. So like it's not a very active group chat. It happens every like 2 to 3 days. But whenever something comes up, I comment just to like, I just want to see what happens. So but the plot twist is real Dylan has not responded in months. I scrolled back to see where Dylan was. Like, people are telling Dylan happy birthday and dude didn't even respond until a couple days ago. Dylan responds and I'm like, oh shit, this is it. I'm exposed. Like, I'm getting kicked out of the group chat. I'm ready to plead my case. Keep me around. Like, come on. But so it was my message as Dylan and then 2 real Dylan messages. I'm still in it. No one's kicked me out. No one said anything. I don't understand. And these aren't like dumb people because I may or may not have stalked them. We have some real estate agents. We have people with like careers that need brains. And I'm just floating along in their group chat. So anyway, in conclusion, if you want to follow that story, follow me, KGD26. I update it when something worthwhile happens. I don't know how I get in these situations. Okay, so speaking of group chats, we're back with the Geezer Girls. And we've got Tally bringing up Felix going at Gemma. And Gemma kind of escalates it, being like, yeah, what the fuck, Felix? And Manrika is not having it, but she doesn't put it out there she keeps it to herself, as Chef's Kiss does. But
that's so like... That's so bold to be in. If you're in like, if like 2 of your friends were in like a 3-person group chat with you, mm-hmm. and your friends just like start shit talking your boyfriend, mm-hmm. like, what do they expect you to like add to this conversation? It's like so awkward. Like, guys, like clearly I do not agree with what you're saying.
Also, like, the weirdness that guy's been in there for, like, a day and a half, and suddenly, like, him and Manrika are, like...
Yeah, it's a situation.
Yeah, that escalated very quickly. Like, someone
did.
brought a hand grenade to this fight, and I wasn't ready for it.
But, yeah, like, I want to track... When did this become... Because I feel like at the end of like the Monday episode, like the right before we started like taking notes for these episodes, I feel like both sides were like Manrika and Felix were like doing it with a smirk, like, ooh, like this is gonna be fun. Like, let's see what happens here. Like, when does the switch flip to like where like Manrika's smitten? Like, I feel like she's like really smitten with Felix. And I'm like, oh, this isn't a bit anymore. Like, you like him.
This is like Manrika's like first big lapse where it's like, are you forgetting that this might not be who you think it is?
Yes.
And the same goes for Felix. So although I do think that for whatever reason, Manrika has not generated an ounce of catfish energy. No one's in the slightest thinking that she is one. But I would at least expect coming into this game, especially as a catfish, like I could be flirting with Nan right now. This actually could be an 85-year-old woman who is playing Manrika.
Sure.
So Manrika does a great job of like keeping her cool and just talking shit out loud and not to the chat, which I appreciate.
Exactly. Makes her a great narrator.
Mm-hmm. Then we get Sayid chatting with Manrika.
I love these two. I just like Hashu's like love of Manrika, and it's like at the moment right now, like I think it's very cute and endearing. I think there may be a point where like it's not anymore, but like at the moment it's just like, oh, this guy, this kid is just like smitten with this picture. But the thing is, like, I know that like he's like thirsty over her picture, but like he really loves her personality. And, like, loves her spirit more so than just like, not more so, but like he's like super thirsty. But like, like to be fair, like I think that he really connects with Manrika on like a personal level. And like that's why I really love this relationship, is that like Manrika like loves Uncle Sayid, but like these are all like Hashu's words and thoughts. And so like I don't know. It's I don't know, it's very sweet to me.
Yeah, I do like that he supports Manrika's happiness, even if the happiness is Felix. It is a little like heartwarming, but like you said, like, are we going to tiptoe across that creepy line? There's a chance. I would love for them both to make Final Five.
What I don't want this to become is I don't want this to become like, you know, like hashtag like the nice guy, or you know what I mean? Like I don't want this to become a situation with like, and I don't want this to become an incel thing. Like, I don't want this to be, you know what I'm talking about, Carrie. Like, you've been there.
I have a feeling that in real life, Hashu gets some ass from time to time. He's funny.
I agree. I hope he does.
Girls love a funny dude. So.
Exactly. He's a handsome guy.
We after have a game called Poet and You Know It.
Oh yeah.
I don't think like anything too monumental came out of this. There was a couple funny things. I loved when Andy was like, "What the fuck rhymes with Vithin?" I would have, if I gotten Vithin, I would have been like, "Can we get his last name? Does his last name rhyme with something?" So I understand that.
Big V, you're like, I don't know.
Here's a brand new nickname I'm giving you for this poem.
A very dense situation.
Yes. And at the end with Hashu's limerick for Manrika, I have the crying emoji next to it.
Melts my heart. I wrote it down. Beautiful eyes, she's one of a kind. A heart of gold, an elegant mind. Admired from afar, she's a precious star. Maybe one day, my truth you will find. Very sweet. Fifth line's a little clunky. Not you know. That's my note for you, Hashu. Like, you're a sweetheart. I love you. You know,
you could have workshopped this a little bit.
Exactly. It's
you have all the time in the world.
It's a first draft. It was very sweet and endearing. The circle's really like milking this for everything that they can.
The one thing that does come out of this though is Felix kind of asked Manrika to be like circle boyfriend girlfriend through his limerick.
Yup.
Which I had to run to the toilet to quickly vomit. And after, Manrika chats Felix and like accepts this proposal. And again, like you said, at first it was like a ha 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 ha, we're flirting. Like it's kind of like when you match with someone out of your league on like Hinge or Tinder and you're like, I'm just gonna throw some lines and we can go back and forth, fully knowing like we're probably never even gonna meet because like I'm gonna get ghosted in like 2 to 24 hours, but whatever. But it's like suddenly gotten real.
Yes. And I think I solved the question that I posed earlier about when does it become, oh, both sides are playing each other, to like Manrika is like down to clown. Manrika's like in.
Yeah.
And I think it's the moment that ends this episode where like Felix, without being prompted, just shares her distaste of Gemma. And Manrika's like, in. Like, let's go. Like, you and me, we are together now.
There
like,
is nothing that brings two people together more than a common enemy.
Yes, I know. It's so great.
It doesn't matter if it's friendship, the circle, love, or a combination of all three. A common enemy, that is really that's the glue.
It is. It is.
And as you said, it does bring us to the end of the episode. So we are halfway through our recap here. To be fair, I knew we were going to go for a while. I tried to get my homework done before this, but I didn't. So it's going to be a late night of papers because we're going to keep going. We've got 2 more episodes. But first, I need to yell at my dog. So do you want to talk about the dot chat with Andy and Saeed,
Absolutely.
Club, while I give Nitro a small B rating?
Yep. All right, so Thursday's episode starts with Dot starting the Breakfast Club, the morning chat, very Clubhouse like for all of you out there who are like.
I have that app and I've not opened it since Randy gave me an invite. What do you even do? Do you just listen to people talk? Like basically, as I'm on an hour-long podcast talking? But
yes. So it's just I think that Scott Dorothy does a good job of picking the people that like he can really like get on side. Dorothy admits to Botox. Like it's just like I think she's doing a good job of really leaning into like I'm the 85-year-old granny, but like I'm a sassy granny. Like I'm like, I could hang, like I could tell jokes, and at times like it's put her on people's radar of like that doesn't sound like my 85-year-old grandmother. But again, like I feel like I know, I know grandmothers who are like,
I've seen them on TikTok. I've seen them on TikTok. They exist.
Betty White 10 years ago was 85 or whatever old she was.
It might even be longer. Isn't she like, she's close to 100.
Like 85-year-old women like can be like jokey, funny, can be like crass. Like, so it's just, and so we're going to get into more of the, like, this is the first seeds of a really strong relationship, and a relationship that in the end will save Dorothy. And I think that Dorothy was benefiting from a twist for sure. But what she does very smartly that I don't think enough circle players do is, instead of saying like I'm going to cast like a wide net and have like surface level connections with everyone and like chat with everyone, says no, I'm going to focus on 2 people, and like they will be my people, and they will fight for me, and they will be my champions. And it, like, again, like saved by the twist, but like really worked out very well for Scott. And it was smart to do this and to start a relationship like this and say, I'm just going to keep at this threesome, at this relationship. And they have sway, they have power, and the name Dot will be in people's ears now.
Yeah, not to math degree people here, but at the end of the day, this does come down to math. Like, it's the decisions on the math that obviously have the influence. But if you have 2 people out of 7 ranking you high versus having
7 people ranking you 4th.
Yeah. And as long as you're middle of the road for everyone else, like, that math really helps you. And so I do agree, when you get people, you really just need a couple to bump that rating for you. And so I 100% agree that, and the continuation of it, because we see the morning club, she initiates it every single morning. The consistency, I also think, shows like, oh, she's not just doing this to play a game. Like, this is how she wants to start her morning. They're enjoying the conversation. A very British thing to do is, like, when you're cool with someone, you change their name to like end with Haza. So, like, I have a couple of friends in the UK who call me Rich, who is on this. He calls me Kaza sometimes. And I'm like, I don't even like that name, but because it's like something you do, I'm cool with it because I know you mean it in like a fun way. He's the only person that calls me that. There's a couple of like dropped it, but that, like, when Andy starts calling her Daza, that's when I was like, oh, Andy is actually team Dot, because that's not something you just say. Like, that's almost like a next step in. It's like when someone calls you a nickname that only your close friends call you, except it's like like a countrywide accepted. When I call you this, that means like, okay, we're cool type of thing.
Not to bring this back to the challenge, but
I'm always here for the challenge. Let's go.
It's like the reverse of, and on the Rehat podcast right after this happened, I think Ali like brought up a really good point about this, but it's after the CT and Big T like breakup the first time, when CT like tries to like talk to Big T on a human level and drops like, I'm not talking to Big T, I'm talking to Tula, you and me, Tula. And like Ali was like, F that, it's manipulative. Like, I hate it when people do it to me. Like, don't do that. So it's like the opposite of that.
My one issue right now is you wouldn't give me Southern twang, but you'll give me CT impressions.
A bad CT.
What the fuck? Where is the line in the sand? I need to know it ahead of time so I know what to expect. So that's my issue right now. All right. So we get Vithin chatting Felix. And Vithin isn't big on like the Felix Manrique relationship. Although, to be fair, he strikes me as someone who, like, anytime he sees like a happy couple, is kind of like, they probably fight behind closed doors. Like, he's probably like picking out the like the issues that they have. But Vithin is like, you know what? I actually quite like speaking to Felix. Yeah. So he's okay with going along with it, and they end up seeming to be on good terms. That's probably a bigger gain for Felix.
My note for this conversation is that Vithin's reads are bad.
See, I have the opposite written down in my notes because, things that Vithin has picked up on immediately, but like doesn't share with people. The Yolanda coming in as clone Tally, he said it immediately.
Immediately pegged that.
There was something else. Well, like, he knew that Billy was real and other people didn't. Oh, I need to like control F my note sheet right now. Reads. Alert, players can add one more. Okay, something about with the profile pictures. Naturally, I didn't write it down. When so it was something with the profile pictures. Vithin said that the only thing I wrote at the profile picture thing was Vithin reads things so well. I wish he would share his thoughts. Now, what did he read well? I don't fucking remember.
Maybe we'll get there when we talk about it.
Maybe you'll remember because I didn't write it down and it's not coming to me now. But
also, again, hand up. I have been unfair to Vithin. So, like,
you're a Vithin like hater. Petty. So there's been a few things where I've just been like, he says it out loud and knows it immediately, but he doesn't share those things with anyone. And those are the types of things I think that could make him like the better connections, but I don't know if he knows that. So that's my personal Vithin opinion.
Yeah. Then we got Gemma and Andy talking.
Mhm. I have a lot of notes for this.
Go.
Okay, I'm just gonna straight up read them because there's a lot of capital letters that I use, like caps locks. Okay, so my first thing is Andy straight up says people have been suspicious of Gemma.
Mhm.
And then Andy, this is crazy to me when Andy was like, so you'd tell me if you were catfishing me, right? Like, yeah, definitely. I am 100% just going to expose my whole entire lies and games to you. Yeah, for sure. Of course I would, Andy. Of course. Andy, come on.
So there are bits to Andy that I really like. I think he's a good guy. He's so self-righteous. Like, he's just like so much like the guy of like, everyone needs to be like, if you're lying to me, then like we're gonna have an issue. Like, it's the game, bro. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It reminds me of if I'm watching a season of The Bachelor and the girls are just like, I hate the fact that he's dating 20 girls. I'm like, you're on The Bachelor. What show do you think you're on, buddy? Like,
you're very right about that. You are 100%.
Flip. 50-50. And this person is a liar. Get over it, bro.
Like what you would tell me. Yeah, sure. No problem. Coming right up. Here.
Yes.
Let me ask the circle if I can just walk to your apartment right now so we could chat, maybe have some tea. Like, shut the fuck up, Andy. Stop being stupid. So here's where my other caps lock moment comes in when Gemma's like, I'm gonna hate when he walks in here and I'm gonna hate when I walk up with 2 bulldogs and a penis. I just started laughing. I was like, yeah, honestly, like it kind of reminds me of season 1 of The Circle. Like, one of my favorite reality TV moments ever. If you haven't watched season 1, mute me. Is I can't remember his name, but the black guy who was like obsessed with, not obsessed, that's too far of a word, but like he was really close with Kate. He started developing some feelings for Kate, and Kate is a catfish. He was playing his girlfriend. So Alex was playing his girlfriend, and he's like, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so disappointed if Kate is a catfish. And then when Alex comes walking in as the last person to their like final 5 dinner, and he realizes that Kate is Alex, just like the face and the disgust and the sadness and disappointment. Like, I can't wait.
We're going to get that from Andy if he makes it to the end.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to happen. I'm already so excited about it. Like, that's one of my favorite moments on reality TV.
Yeah, or at least with Shubham, with Shubi in the U.S. circle.
Yeah,
I think by the end, like I think he had gotten to a place where it's like, I'm not gonna be mad if Rebecca's a catfish. Like, I guess I get it, but like he started off being like, oh no, like Shubi's gonna be mad when he sees some of these people. So yeah, I think Andy is setting himself up to be like annoyed. Like, maybe he'll like put on a face and like chuckle and like smile, but like I feel like deep down he's gonna be like seething when he finds out that James is Gemma.
So I also have that. So Gemma doesn't like straight up say I'm a catfish, but says like, I'm being truthful to you, and pledges allegiance to Andy. So it's like, I pledge allegiance to Andy circle and the united circle of the circle. Because yes. But anyway.
And then Gemma says something like, I won't even say the word catfish unless you ask me. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand what that means. Like,
the thing that got me is Andy was like, well, there's no way she's lying now unless she's fully playing the game. Bro, what are you there for if you're not fully playing the game? I am such, like, when people are like, oh my God, but the emotional, fuck your emotions. We're here for money in a game. Like, it's a game.
The game you're playing.
If you're hurt by that, then like, I don't know. That's a you problem. So when he's like, unless she's fully playing the game, bitch, she is. That's what she's here. That's why she is on the show. Yes, it's a goddamn gladiator. They don't just roll over.
So we're about to get to what I'm going to go on a limb. You went on a limb and said that like you think that I love Saeed, and of course I do. I'm going on a limb and saying I think that you love this game, and it's your favorite game that they play every circle season.
I just love when like shit hits the fan and
Yes.
people are throwing shade and
Yep.
oh my gosh. I would have done something similar. I think it depending on who I got, obviously, but like I support what Manrika did. I support what Dot did. Like
Yep.
let the bodies hit the floor.
So we can skip through like some of the more boring ones. Like Saeed does like a very like nice drawing of Manrika, but it's funny that like everybody else is like, oh, like that doesn't look great. She was Manrika like loves
I'm
it. She's like,
looking in
oh,
a
that's
mirror.
me.
That's beautiful, and everyone's like, yikes.
Yeah. Andy does like a serviceable one for Vithan. Like it's like it's fine. Felix draws Dorothy, and here's where like we see again, and we got like glimpses of it in the Giza Girls chat, but here's where we find out for real that Tally hates Felix.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's gonna become a thing.
So something that I thought was interesting, because there was bits of this throughout the next few conversations, is people saying like, well, this picture had to be by a boy because boys can't draw. And the one by Felix is a goddamn Picasso masterpiece. Like,
Yes.
What the fuck? And no one's being like, well, wait a second. If we're using that as our reasoning, then why is no one being like, then how did Felix do this? So that confused me a little bit. Was a little bit confused by how we only went one way on that reasoning and not all the way back around.
Are you saying that it only counts when it's helpful to people and that yeah, it's just very Tally draws Andy, and this is like low key one of my favorite points where like Tally like mentioned something about like Andy like being like in a comedy club, and Gemma's like, Andy has never said anything remotely funny.
Yeah. Andy's not funny.
And then like we start getting into like that. They front loaded like the boring ones first, and like let's get a final four that are gonna be like fantastic. Gemma draws Felix.
And Manrika gets offended by the hashtag because he'll pump anything. But to be fair,
they joke about like Gemma drawing a micro fetus.
Sounds like I think that's an erection. Has it been that long since you guys have seen one? You haven't been in the circle for that extended period of time. However, to be fair, he did come in and flirt with everything. Like,
yeah.
So I get that Manrika is upset by it. However, I do appreciate that Manrika wasn't upset in private though and called it out. However, I don't know if that's the best gameplay because it shows like she is veering towards Felix and veering towards Felix hard.
But Manrika is basically saying like, hey, like, I think this is a subtweet at me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if it's, like, someone else, like, maybe she wouldn't have. But, like, when it's a subtweet at her, like, she's the one saying, like, at me, you coward. Like, that's basically, like, what Manrika's saying in that moment.
Yeah. To be fair, good on her.
Yes.
So the next one is Vithan painting Saeed. And again, when it's anonymous, Vithan just like whips the dick out, puts it on the table and is like, I got this big dick energy. Let's go. But when it comes to actually like saying things with a name to it, he's not. I wish he had a little bit more of that.
It was the one moment where he was trolling and voted for the wrong Tally.
Yeah, it's true. Then he was like, "Oh, if I'm gonna be an asshole, I have to do it behind closed doors."
Again, like highlighting how she was reads. Saeed sees through it, says like, "I think that's Vithan." Like
he not just figured that out. He figured out everyone.
He like has everyone clocked.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, like, given there's only 8 people, so. I'll back off amazing. However, a lot of other people are very wrong about what has gone down with this activity. So I did think that was impressive. I mean, we'll get into it, but he also uses that information, whether or not it's to his benefit. I think we're gonna have to wait for the future to see. But yeah, he was like, "Oh, that's Vithin." Right away, he knew. And I think it's interesting that the two of them don't get along. I would have maybe like Vithin is just too, like how you're saying, he's just too and Uncle Saeed is like the exact opposite, that they just really don't.
Yeah, where I think Vithin is very like serious, like game body, like he kind of like I think Vithin like fancies himself like kind of a
he brought a calculator to the circle.
He did.
I have 2 math degrees and would not bring a calculator to the circle. Also, to be fair, to pass time, I would do the math by hand. So.
Yes. Whereas I think Hushu is playing it. You know, he's like being cerebral also, but like I think he's doing more to like be social and like showcase personality as opposed to where I think a lot of what Vithin is doing is kind of robotic.
I don't think we've seen a better catfish in any series. I haven't watched Brazil or France because I can't read, so how am I going to do subtitles? But I do think that he's the best catfish we've seen out of any of the English-speaking series of this. He needs to become like the pinnacle of what people aspire to be. So our next painting is Dot painting Tally. And Jesus Christ. Like, what a mess.
Yes.
That I literally have woof in all capital letters with like 8 O's. Kind of like what my dog's doing right now. But
you should have said woof.
Thank you, Nitro. Way to go. You're good for something. So people just like went in on whoever made this. And rightfully so, to be fair, because one, it was not good. And 2, I do think that this should have been kind of like a light bulb moment that Saeed brings up later is if you were there for OG clone Tally, you don't go at Tally this way because you've seen a whole thing of going at Tally.
And you know that she's been through shit. Like she's been through a lot so far in this game. Like she can't handle this because she was melting down with the clone Tally and like, and I think we were all worried when she won the Tally showdown that she'd kind of revert back to the Tally before the clone with like less fight in her. And so this really, again, was another thing that like sparked something in her like, like I need to kick it up. And again, in my notes again, Tally really hates Felix.
Where she's convinced like, Felix did this. Yeah, and she didn't even consider that it would have been Dot. But I think that she is leaning towards Dot being real, which is, again, interesting in itself. It also makes me wonder, like, did you watch any previous series of these? Because, like, no one that old's been brought in before. I just, anyway, whatever. So whatever you think, Tally, try your best. It's all we can ask for in a pandemic.
And then the main event.
And now standing in at 5'4", 120 pounds is Manrika. I don't know what her last name is. So she's Cher. She's got one name.
She's like Cher.
And she calls her a shit stir by using a picture puzzle. So we have a 2-headed snake.
TikTok.
Yeah, it's like you're out of here soon. It was angry. It was intense. It was very direct.
It was a choice.
There was no messages there whatsoever. You knew that this person, probably not Gemma's biggest fan,
saying it with her chest.
Oh, real loud. Real loud.
Yeah. And we'll get back to this because there's a lot to talk about this portrait.
My favorite part of this, because again, as you may have mentioned, I see a bit of myself in Manrika, is when everyone's like, this is fucked up. And Manrika's like, look at the shading on my snake. Like, look at how beautiful that is. Because that would be me. I would just be sitting there being like, yeah, I fucking did it, and look how good it looks.
Also,
no hesitation.
So Gemma's reaction to this is her message is, I don't know what to say, period.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I'd have something more to say than I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I'd be like, circle, turn on the caps lock. I got to use my outdoor voice for this one. And while you're at it, find that red emoji with the swearing thing over its mouth, because I need a few of those at the end of this too.
Yeah. Just unbelievable. And Manrika, after patting herself on the back for her beautiful artwork, says, by the way, she's like, "Oh, it's much prettier on the TV than it is in person." She does what of course anyone would do, so doesn't mean that she's innocent at all, but does a thing of hey, that's not fair. How dare someone?
That's not very nice. Who would have done that?
Yeah.
And Saeed's you. It was you. It's like that the meme of the woman yelling from the audience.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So here's where we get Tally and Manrika's first real, where we start to see the crack. Yeah, tectonic plates here, and
yes.
we're not sliding, we're not doing pleasantries here. We got head-on collision.
Yeah. Where I think both sides are coming into this with and it's every message, the other one's no, you're not getting it.
Yeah, it's I'm only saying this because I care about you. When they both also have other vested interests that they're trying to protect. And I do think that Tally was up front at the beginning, because she straight up was like, yo, Felix just fucked me over big time. What the fuck, Felix? And Manrika was very no. I'm sure why tries to protect Felix at the same time while trying to support Tally. And I do think that the rest of these episodes go differently if Manrika in this chat just straight up says, yo, you have to be aware of what Gemma's doing. But she never is upfront about it. And I do think that if she had put that in Tally's mind, I think Tally might start, I think there's a difference in some things and how they go down. But instead, that leads Manrika to being I don't know if I can trust Tally's opinions right now.
Yeah. It's just a great piece of content where it's, these two who were they were the Giza girls, they were inseparable. Tally doesn't survive the cloning probably without Manrika being so vocally in Blue Tally's corner. And it's just, their relationship had been such on the back burner for the last couple episodes and the last couple days, where they didn't do enough to kind of maintain hey, you're my number one, you're my number one, to the point where Gemma became more important for Tally and Felix became more important for Manrika. And it's just this was hard to watch. This was a very raw, real conversation between two people who it reminds me of just my college friends who I may have been super close to when we were in college together, but then a year later we're having a conversation on Facebook Messenger, and it's just not as easy anymore. It's not it doesn't flow in the same way, and it's it just, the relationship just died, and it's just it was crazy.
I think that there's two other things I want to bring up from this, and I forgot one of them, but I'll remember it, I'm sure. So one is, I do think we see a bit of the reasoning why Tally is so set on this. And when the when Vithin made the comment as a woman being like, yeah, you flirted with me, and kind of like made it seem like flirt with everyone. But then Tally was like, wait, Felix hasn't chatted with me. Felix definitely hasn't flirted with me.
Mhm.
That I think that caused a bit of insecurity for her in the fact that like Felix has given this attention to all the other women besides me. So this must be coming from Felix. So that insecurity, I think, is like a big part of her reasoning. And she does mention it.
And
Not to,
Manrika gets
like,
mad. Manrika gets mad in one of these anonymous games, and I don't know if it's already happened or happened in the future, but she gets mad when Tally thinks that something that Vithin says, like trying to pretend to be Manrika, is Manrika. And Manrika's just like, how can you think that's me? Like, what kind of relationship do you, like, we've spoken so many times, like, you cannot think that I actually said that. And like, it's the conversation where you have with someone where it's just like, hey, like, we used to be real cool, and then you started dating someone and you've changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no one wants to like be on the side of that where like, oh my God, like just because I'm like seeing someone and it's like, I don't want to have this conversation right now. Like, just like shut it down. Like, we're not doing this right now. Like, it's so annoying to be on the other side of that conversation.
I remember my other point. And so I need a behind the scenes revelation. I need a behind the scenes conversation with like a producer, someone who works for the circle, because there are rules that I want to know about. Like, this chat seems so much longer than any other chat this season. And why? Like, is there a limit on, because you know how it seems like they're able to send like 3 to 5 messages tops in a one-on-one, and then it has to get shut down. This one was longer. And then like, I want to know how many chats they're allowed to have a day. How like, is there an allotment? Like, I want to know these things, but this one really stuck out to me. I'm like, this feels like it's going on for an extended period of time. And why was that allowed? Because it feels like it's not allowed in the other ones. Does that sound accurate to you?
I don't know, because I feel like when does a chat end because someone leaves the chat versus like this chat has reached its capacity for the day, like it's automatically going to end. And so like I'd be curious to like kind of get the inside scoop on all that. Hopefully someone that I know is on the US circle and I can ask that person that.
Wait, you know someone's going to be on the US circle?
Shrug.
We're going to talk after this. I definitely want to know that stuff. I've always wondered it, but this conversation especially, just it seemed like it was allowed to go on longer than other ones have been allowed to go on for.
And it's really, and it's like it's the sort of thing where like they were sending each other like passive aggressive messages and then like punctuating it with a heart. Where it's just like, that's,
I hate that shit.
I know.
I like, having played in a few circle games myself, when people, I'm just like, stop it. Like, we see through your goddamn emoji. Stop.
Yep.
Ugh. All right. So then we get to the rating. Yep. And so I only wrote down a couple of things that stood out to me. One was Felix rating Andy number 1. What the fuck?
That surprised me for
it's
sure.
It's like, do you know that Andy's not going to see that he rated you that you rated him number 1? Because like, I don't know why else you would do that unless you think he's going to find out that you did this. So
and Tally's still ranking Manrika number 1 even after that conversation.
And then Manrika put Andy number 1.
Yes.
And Manrika put Vithin number 2.
Wait. Did she? She put Tally number 2, and then she like Aubrey Bracco'd it, where she crosses it out and says, "No, Vithin's 2."
Yeah, that's a Survivor reference. I remembered. I'm proud of me. Good job, Care. My greatest talent, forgetting everything about a TV show once I watch it.
Tally from 2 to 6.
Yeah, that's dramatic. Like,
I
That
understand like the strategy, I guess, behind it, but from 2 to 6?
yeah, I like I understood the
By the way,
strategy.
Manrika,
However,
I love you. I think you're so great, and that like I love that you're in this game, and you are infallible. Girl, you drew a picture of a two-headed snake for Gemma, and then proceeded to rank your best friend 6 in the rankings on the bottom. Who is the snake, Manrika? You're the one who did the snaky thing.
spoiler alert, I think it's Manrika. Proceed with caution.
Yes.
So yeah, those were the main things I took away from the actual process of the ratings. And then we get an alert as like their prize for the event. They each get to add another profile picture. And my note says Vithan reads things so well. What he read, I don't know, but he does.
All right. So Felix is topless, of course. Tally's on an ATV. Gemma is having like a nurse selfie, which like, you know, I don't know. Manrika's with her dad. Vithan's on a camel. Andy's on his like computer and his workstation. Saeed with his wife, who's not really like Saeed's wife, just like a random like woman that he's posing with at a wedding. And then Dot with her husband.
Yeah, I don't know what he read. I don't remember. Okay.
Maybe like, oh, that must be Saeed's wife. Like,
no, it was definitely something better than that. I think I wouldn't have written it down otherwise, but I don't want to guarantee. I need some room for failure.
Also, in my notes, I wrote down really setting up the shitstorm James is going to get. They're really setting this up.
And I think part of what James is not seeing in terms of people's distaste or displeasure in Gemma is there's not much personality outside of like her job is her personality. And so then it's like, oh, I get another profile picture. Let me put that I'm a nurse. Like you're adding no other dimensions to her. And so it's just kind of like you had an opportunity to add some depth and layers and it didn't happen.
Yeah. Like, but like a picture of you at a ball game or something. You know what I mean? Like, just like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, put a picture with you and a family member. I don't know. But it's always whenever someone posts a picture with their family member, like someone's got to say like maybe it's the family member. Like maybe it's like they say it with Saeed, where it's like, oh, maybe it's Saeed's wife that's like here doing the picture. So yeah, that I feel like that always happens.
Yeah, I agree. And then we get the rankings being revealed. So we do find out that only the bottom 2 players are going to be at risk of being blocked. And we find out that it's Dot and Tally at the bottom. And we also find out that their fate rests in the hands of the remaining players. So influencers aren't a thing this time. And
I feel like Andy would have been one of them because Andy got first place votes from Felix, Vithan, and Manrika on the last rating. So I feel like Andy definitely would have been one of the influencers.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that Andy would have been an influencer as well. And something that I like is that if these players have watched The Circle before, which I'm hoping that they did, and I think some of them definitely did, is that they're really keeping them on their toes this season. It's not like the same setup of expect the 2 influencers, they're going to do the blocking. Like the fact that this time the rankings mattered. They mattered a lot, but it didn't matter who was at the top this time. It mattered who you had at the bottom.
Yeah,
and so I like that we're getting that variance because I do think that something The Circle risks is how many twists can you really incorporate to something that's so straightforward mathematically. So the fact that they've done it and done it well, both this season and the Celebrity UK season, I'm like pleasantly happy with because I could see like you have Survivor who's been on for 40 years. You have The Challenge has been on for 36 seasons. Like can a show like this have a lifespan even half of that when so much is based on rating people from 1 to 8 or whatever. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. And Manrika blames herself, and
She should.
Probably should. She should.
Yeah, it's like, good job. If anything, I'd be more mad that she didn't blame herself. So I agree.
But I feel like Felix may have been at risk if Tally wasn't in the bottom two.
I agree with you. Keep talking.
I think it would probably be either Vithin or Felix as the other person in the bottom. And so, yeah, it's a bad situation that Manrika is in right now. And that's like the double-edged sword with people. Like, you're going to have to make a tough call in a situation like this. And that's the end of the Thursday episode, and we move on to the Friday one.
My dog was eating the chair on the like the plastic handle.
Now, Care, if you had that floating chair in the yoga room, it wouldn't be a situation.
No, he would undisputedly destroy that because he loves chewing on that type of material. I mean, he likes chewing on almost anything, but especially that type of material. I've had this like gate around me so he can't get like into me to bite my hand, and it just fell, and now he's scared shitless. He won't even come near me. So I might need to rearrange that in a second. But I heard that we got to the end of the episode, so now we're at episode 4, and we started off with Sayid chatting with Tally.
Sure.
And Sayid saying he's completely on Tally's side. Tally reciprocates, and Sayid uses that insight, that information to be like, Tally, I think it was Felix that made your photo.
No. Sayid thinks Dot did it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dot. I'm sorry.
Dot.
I mixed 2 lines up in my notes. I've done a lot of thinking today. My brain is not happy with me. Yeah, you're right. That Dot did it. Thank you for correcting that.
Yeah, but Tally still hates Felix,
and she like doesn't really
broken record
take it into consideration.
No. And I wrote here that, and I think this is something that we can talk about again as the episode ends and what happens towards the end. But I wrote here again that Hushu is such a great social player. So we'll see if we agree based on how the blocker vote goes, because I think that I think that was his first misstep. I think the fact that he went Gemma in that vote wasn't great. And I know that like he was doing it to like look like, hey, I'm sticking to my guns, and that worked for Lady Lesher in the UK in the celebrity circle. But we'll get to that. But in my notes at this point, I said that Sayid, I think, is playing a great social game.
I agree with you.
He's super tight with Tally, with Andy, with Manrika, with Tally. Like, he's really good at. And then there's Vithin, who he doesn't have a relationship with, and then like, so yeah, that was a good chat to start off the episode.
I agree with you. I thought it was even interesting how he just straight up was like, "I wish it was Felix or Vithin." That was not her. Yep. So then we get Andy chatting Manrika. And it's a very open conversation. And just like, should she trust Tally? Should she trust Felix? And Andy, I thought, did a great job of not trying to tell her how to think. It is, sorry, Michael, I know you're a man, but it's a very man thing to do, to tell a woman like how to think and feel. And so with him just being like, I think you should do whatever your gut says. You know what I mean? Like, he left it up to her. I thought that was so good socially on his part.
Well, Carrie, I'm going to say you're wrong, and that you shouldn't be thinking that. And here's what you should be thinking. No, this ends up being such an important conversation. Like, this really dictates how the rest of this episode will go. What like, without this conversation, like, we don't get the result that we get. I think Dot does a great job of like continuing the Breakfast Club thing. And I think that Andy is replaying the conversation that he has with Manrika, who's like his number one, about Manrika expressing doubt about Tally. And there's like, you know what? Like, she's not my untouchable anymore. Like, we're not on the same page right now.
And we also know that in the last blocking when they were influencers together that Andy said if I was in here with anyone else, the first name I would have brought up to block was Tally, and I would have pushed for that. And because it's Manrika, I'm not going to. So I think
and we'll get into this, but do Andy and Tally have any relationship? Have they ever been in a chat together? Like, I don't think they have any relationship whatsoever.
I don't think Tally's done a great job of reaching out and making connections with people at all. Where
absolutely not.
I don't know if it's 100% her fault, because I do think that Andy gets brought into a lot of group chats, and that could be based off of like how he gives off energy and relates to people in the circle chat that then makes them want to come into the group chat. But Tally isn't in a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's like Andy is smart enough and aware enough and like a good enough player to say, you know what, like Manrika's probably feeling down about the fact that like Tally's in the bottom 2. I'm going to start a conversation with her.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think the only person that like we see Tally initiate conversations with like is Manrika.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you gotta, you know, you're going to end up in a situation where Manrika's not going to be able to save you anymore.
Right.
It's just like, sorry.
Yeah, I 100% agree that like she hasn't done enough socially to be able to stand on her own 2 feet. Her game really relies on Manrika's relations and people not wanting to like upset Manrika. But with like the cracks happening, time's ticking short on you, Tally. So we get the morning chat or morning club part 2 next, and we really see Saeed struggling here after their conversation, because right before this, we see him being like Team Tally 100%. And then he's like, wait, I don't know. I like Dot.
Yeah. So Dot talks about her husband, and again, like I love Hushu so much that Saeed does a really good job of like imparting some mature wisdom and just like again, there's so much reverence that Hushu has for Saeed, and he does such a great job of being him, and he just is so good at making people smile. You know what I mean? Like he's so like, I feel like a conversation with Saeed is like being on half of a hug, and just afterwards you're just like, I love that guy. Like that guy's awesome. I love Saeed, and so you know, he's just, you know, he's so great.
Yeah, he's very good at playing his age as well in terms of his catfish's age, I guess. I think that would be, I would also think that people would try to challenge it a little bit. But again, the counter to it is there's quite a few people who have said like, he's probably not who he says he is, but I like him enough that it doesn't
I love
matter.
him anyway. Yes.
So yeah. I don't know. He's just doing such a great job. I agree. And
he does a good job of, and he said this in an earlier episode, he's like, I'm going to like these are my words. Like, this is what I would say. I'm just going to frame it in like what Saeed would sound like. But like, it's not like he's playing a character. Like, I mean, like this is like as close to like a genuine thing as like a catfish can be, I feel like.
Yeah. I think he's playing a bit of a character. I mean, his background is he is a YouTube content creator and he plays different characters. So this is somewhat natural to him.
Yes.
But I don't think it's like this is one of the characters he plays on his YouTube. I think that it's like a polite combination of the two. I did put at this point, just want to throw this out there before I knew anything that was happening. I think Andy would lean towards keeping Dot. TBH is the exact thing that I put. But I think that the editors wanted us to feel like Andy was in limbo here. A little bit of foreshadowing. We get Gemma chatting with Tally, which is like the new Gemma and Manrika almost. Tally thinks that the low ratings came from Felix and Dot. And they both think that Felix is just playing a flirting game and that they have each other's back.
Yeah.
Nothing really surprising came out of that for me. Did anything like worthwhile besides that happen for you?
No, not really. Gemma's trying to get Tally to go against Felix, and I think Tally just like she just takes the bait all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Where like she's just not thinking on the same level as the like. I think she was kind of ahead of her skis a little bit in this game, where like I don't know how much of a gamer Tally is. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure she's like a very nice person, but like I feel like this wasn't the game for her.
No. Especially like with this cast, not
Yeah.
at all. She never
Where it's just
ever stood a chance.
yeah.
So then we get Manrika chatting with Felix, so the little lovebirds.
Little lovebirds.
Felix
sorry.
doesn't want to see Nan go, which is not surprising. They came in together. I think that that's like a bond that you automatically have when two of you come in on the same day, that you want to keep them around, partially because it also keeps you as like not the only new person.
Yeah. So my note here, Manrika says she'll leave the country if Felix is a catfish.
Come on over to Chicago. You can hang out with me.
Yes. Yep.
Come to the United States.
And then,
we don't have good healthcare. We
narrator woman says, "Hope you get your passport ready."
Yeah. Don't worry, your borders are shut. You're going nowhere.
But this is, by the way, this is like the first time. This is the first time where Felix says, and like this could just be like covering your ass, but like Felix like at one point does like bring up like, I kind of hope Manrika's not real, or like I feel less guilty about this. And, like, but this is like the only time where it's ever like broached that Manrika might be.
Yeah. Like I wrote that Felix is afraid of Manrika developing real feelings.
Yep.
I have a feeling that Manrika just enjoys like the flirt and attention and is not like actually planning their wedding. Those are the Manrika vibes that I get.
Yeah.
So Gemma, again, the captain,
queen of the group chats,
captain of titling them as well. Like no one better, calling it relationship building. I love how Sayid is like, what is this? A fucking like HR training in a business? Like what are we doing here?
Are we like gonna go on like the high wires? Or
we're
whatever?
Gonna do some trust falls.
Right.
We're gonna set some SMART goals after this.
Oh my gosh!
Just bring up any bad like buzzword in a PD, and that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So
Sayid, just do a temperature check.
Use a pattern of weather to describe how you feel today. I'm a goddamn tornado.
Think, pair, share about.
Turn to your shoulder, partner.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so Sayid tells Gemma he thinks that Manrika drew the picture.
Do you like this? Do you think that Sayid should have done this?
I think that Sayid trusts that the information wouldn't get back to Manrika, but I don't think Sayid knew enough that like Gemma thought he was close with, or she was close with Manrika. So I understand, because again, it's like if Gemma likes Manrika less, then by proxy Gemma has to like Sayid more.
Yeah.
Like the balance of those. So I understand the move. I don't know if I would have done it yet, because you know that you're not going home this round. You know it's either Tally or Dot going home. So I might save that information to when it could have more of an immediate effect.
So I think he could have done it in a more cowardly way, and I am a coward, so like I support this, and I think that he should have done it this way. But instead of being like, I think this was Manrika, like pose it as a question. Be like, do you think there's a possibility this could have been Manrika who did it? Or like, how's your relationship with Manrika? Like, do you think that there's a possibility that where if it gets back to Manrika, like you have like the cowardly out of being like, I didn't say it, I posed the question, but like
I also don't know if like
spitballing.
Saeed doesn't really talk like that though. You know what I mean? Like
Yes. Whereas yes. I agree.
So I don't know if he like could have realistically used that. And I also think that it would have been bad form for Gemma to go and be like, hey, Manrika, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
When Gemma came to them about the Billy stuff, and the Billy stuff was a straight up lie.
Yes.
Versus Saeed is actually trying to like sort this out. And they never went to Billy and were like, hey, by the way, do you know who won the World Cup? You know, like they didn't go and rat Gemma out. So I do think that there's also that mutual level of trust.
That's true.
That could have been another reasoning of like, okay, I'm gonna throw this out there because I didn't fuck him over when he did this with us. So hopefully it's reciprocated.
Yeah.
Andy was shocked by that. And again, Andy, who is the moral compass,
of course,
who was like so disgusted. And then now his girl Manrika is out here calling people a two-headed snake and a shit stirrer and stuff.
Oh, she couldn't do that.
Never.
She's my circle sis.
It's like the parents of like the fucking annoying kids. And it's like, my kid would never do that. I'm like, I saw with my 2 eyes, I heard with my 2 ears.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, how many people do you need to hear it from? And Gemma thinks it's more likely that Saeed is doing it to deflect it off of him, or that it was Felix. So no one's believing Saeed.
No.
And again, I think it's because he has that like doofy, like, ha ha ha, I make jokes. I'm
gonna ask about masturbation.
Yeah. That was funny. To be fair, that was so fucking funny. So like, I think that if Andy had come in and been like, it was this, that no one questions it. I think if Manrika comes in and says it was this person, no one questions it. But because it's Saeed, people are like, I don't know if I. So, I think it's because of who it came from and not because of the validity or of the information. Anything else from? I scroll to the next page. Just keep going down, Carrie. Saeed didn't realize that Gemma feels close to Manrika, and Gemma doesn't think that Manrika would do something like that.
Yeah, yes. I think though that, and we'll get to it, but the bloom might be off the rose a little bit between the Gemma fight. It might start after these votes for like who's going to be the blocker. Like Gemma, Gemma should really like open her eyes a little bit to like, oh, like maybe Manrika and I aren't tight. Maybe like Manrika secretly like hates me and wants to throw up when she sees my name.
I also think that because we are privy to getting to see Manrika in her apartment, because Manrika does not come across that way to them in the circle whatsoever. So
she's fake.
Yeah. Our next game is Agony Aunts.
Yes.
And Tally and Dot, because they're at risk, get to be the aunts, and they get to give advice to anonymous questions. So we know Vithin's going to shine because it's anonymous.
Yes.
And our first question, Uncle Saeed, God bless him. He is basically like, I haven't seen my wife. I have no privacy. I have not been able to masturbate. What do I do?
And so Dot and Tally are going to take two different approaches with these questions. Where like Tally's going to be like, I'm very genuine and I'm like a sweet girl and everybody loves me. And Dot's just like, I'm going to be like a brassy, like 85-year-old B word. By B word, I mean broad. And I'm just going to like be like so extra with answering these questions.
Yeah.
And so people like Andy, surprise, surprise, are like more on board with the way that Tally's answering these questions. Like, oh, I think she answered that really well. Whereas like Felix is like, I love what Dot is doing.
Yeah. Andy did see the humor in Dot's stuff, but I do think that he also saw the sincerity in Tally's. So yeah, and other people were just like, shut the fuck up, Tally. So our second question was, Felix has a friend that he thinks is a catfish. How does he ask? Which it's like
a lame question. I'm sorry. If you're gonna be anonymous, like, and you want to like come in with heat, like, do something better than that.
And then Vithan asks how to slow down a relationship that he feels is going too fast.
And this is where Tally annoys Manrika with like her answer, where Manrika's like, how could you think I asked that question? Do I even know you anymore? Like, what is going on?
And he makes it seem like it was from Felix. Like, again, given Vithan could have played as someone else, and to that point, it is almost anonymous because you have that shield of like, I was just being a catfish, blah, blah, blah. Like, but Vithan has chose to come into this game as himself, and I wonder what he would be like as a catfish, because it seems like when he feels like he has that wall to hide behind, he is willing to launch shit over it with no regard for anyone's well-being or safety. And I wish we got to see more of that from him, besides when it was anonymous.
And then Andy's question, so predictable.
Andy, I almost don't even want to acknowledge this question. How do we get people to stop being mean to each other when it's anonymous? Bitch, it's a TV show and a game. You don't. And Manrika basically said that. She was like, this is when we get to be mean.
Yes.
Appreciate this.
Yeah.
All right. So we're at an alert.
Here comes Emma.
Yeah. And she's got the like Baby Spice.
Yes.
Like she looked like she came right off of the Spice Girls main stage.
Absolutely.
She was the 6th Spice Girl.
Yeah.
Good on her. So we find out that again, well, not find out. We know that Tally or Dot's being blocked, but the twist that we get here is that there is going to be someone called the blocker. And essentially everybody has to vote, and the person with the most votes gets to be the blocker, and they are the one person to decide which of Tally or Dot goes home.
Do you think that Tally and Dot should have gotten a vote in this or no?
I think that would have been interesting. Yeah. I wouldn't have been opposed to it by any means. I think that, like I'm okay that they didn't, but I would have been okay if they did. I could see them next time, if they use a twist like this, adding that variation into it. Because it was kind of funny because they were both like, yes, Andy.
Yeah. And I almost wish that I can see the benefits to both cases. I almost wish that these votes could have been anonymous, because I feel like there could have been interesting, like hinky votes if these votes were anonymous.
And again, I think that it just sets up for things that they can take and build off of and change a little bit for future seasons and twists.
Yeah. So we get like half a big nasty situation here, where it takes them 3 times.
Yeah. I might have messed up the votes from the first round.
I got them all.
Oh, perfect. Go for it.
Vithan picks Andy. Saeed picks Gemma. Gemma picks Manrika. Andy picks Saeed. Felix picks Saeed. Manrika picks Andy. So then it's 2 Saeeds, 2 Andys. They go to a revote. Felix picks Andy. Saeed picks Gemma. Andy picks Felix. Manrika picks Andy. Gemma and Vithan pick Saeed. So it's 2 Saeeds and 2 Andys. And then the third vote. Manrika picks Andy. Gemma picks Vithan. Saeed picks Gemma for a third time. Andy picks Felix. Felix picks Andy. Vithan picks Andy. I feel like Vithan almost like wanted to go to a tie again, but like didn't. Like I almost wish he did go to a tie again, because I just wanted to see like how many times they're gonna have to do this.
Until
so it ended up being Andy ended up with 3 votes. And so this is where I was saying that could this have been Saeed's first misstep, where Saeed keeps voting Gemma as his pick? And like Manrika like raises her eyebrows about that for sure.
Yeah. I do think that it's an easy misstep to recover from if it is a misstep. And
Yeah.
I also think like the bigger thing for Saeed is Saeed didn't have to block someone here.
Yes.
So I mean, if it's a mistake, I don't think it's not like a Manrika level of putting your ally at number 6 and then they get blocked by your now new number 1-ish ally mistake, like on the grand mistake scale, I think it's a baby one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that's like
Okay.
do you?
I hope so.
Yeah, I know you're a big Saeed fan. Do you think that it was a big mistake or no?
I'm worried just because I think his relationship with Manrika is really important to him. Not just because he's thirsty, but just because I think they have like a very strong uncle niece relationship, and he that's very important to him. And there's no way that he could know this. So maybe it's not like an egregious mistake, but he just picked Manrika's worst enemy 3 times in a row. And just went all basically saying I'm all in with Gemma. But again, he can easily in the next one-on-one that he has with Manrika basically say listen, I picked Gemma first time. I am a man of principle. I keep voting Gemma. Sorry.
I also think that he can easily say Gemma told me that she would save Tally no matter what.
Yeah, and also
it's a very easy thing to say, and it's you had to block someone last time.
I didn't want to put you in that position.
Let Gemma be more of
get blood on her hands
type of thing. I do think that there's a Saeed Hushu.
This is reboundable. It's reboundable.
Yeah, he's not dumb. He'll figure a way out of it, I think.
Definitely.
And especially because I think the other aspect of it is Manrika's going to need someone. Not need someone, but she just lost her number 1, maybe number 2, depending on who, you know what I mean? She just lost a close ally.
Yeah.
She can't lose Saeed on top of that. She can't because of this. So I think that even if he just comes in and apologizes, she's quickly going to be yeah, it's fine. Because she has to have way more guilt about what just happened than about Saeed voting Gemma.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, I mean, we've obviously implied it a bunch of times, but Andy blocks Tally.
Yes.
Do you think he made the right decision?
100%.
Yeah.
I do. I think that Dorothy did a better job of making a bond with him. I think that Dorothy, with the morning chats, really did a good job of making Andy feel important. And I don't think Tally did that. I don't think Tally worked hard enough with that relationship. And I think that Manrika kind of opened the door for Andy to do it and for it to be defensible, where if she's mad, and I don't think she'll express to Andy that she's mad, but if she is, Andy could easily say listen, we had this conversation today where you thought that you weren't sure about Tally, so I did this for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that this was I think this is absolutely what Andy should have done.
I also think it brings
Andy's gonna kick himself when he sees that that Tally is real.
Yeah.
And he's gonna blame himself, and we could be looking at an unfun Andy where he's just focused on catfish again. But I think this was the right move for him to make in this game. I think this clears up Manrika.
Yeah.
To for her to become his number 1. I don't think that Tally made Andy feel important at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the pro to keeping Tally is that you keep Manrika happy. But obviously we had seen that there was cracks in the conversation that she had with Andy earlier. And I also think that by getting rid of Tally, he still has that relationship with Manrika. He's not going to lose it. And like we said, he has things that he can
He
patch it
still
back
has
up with.
Saeed. He still has,
But
he still has
he's just
Gemma.
brought Dot and Felix in closer with him because he's shown like allegiance to the new people, essentially.
Yeah.
And showed that like, oh, just because you're new, I'm not going to get rid of you. So I do think that he's able to like still sustain the relationships he has and can do any repair work he might need to, even though I don't think it's going to have to be a lot. And especially because Manrika put him in that situation.
Yes.
And Manrika's going to take ownership for that. Manrika's going to take ownership for the fact that she put Tally in 6th place in the first. Like, I don't see her projecting it out at Andy. I think she's going to internalize a lot of it. And I think that he really strengthens the relationship with both Felix and Dot by doing that because they're new. So I think he made the right decision too.
I agree.
We don't get to see who she gets to go. God damn you, Circle, and your stupid cliffhangers.
But no, this is great. Now we can guess.
Yeah, it does give us something to guess. Who do you think she goes to see?
All right. Well, we'll start off by saying it's not visiting Vithin. Like, no point in that.
And she said she doesn't really care about seeing Saeed either.
Okay. I don't think she would see Andy. My guess is I'm pretty sure it's Manrika, but it could be Dot. Those are my top two.
I would think it would go Gemma, then Manrika.
It could be Gemma, and that could be that'll be electric.
Yeah, especially because I think she's confident that Manrika is Manrika. Like we said, no one has given out off anything that Manrika is a catfish.
Yeah.
Where Gemma is this like newfound ally, but also there was like doubts. I could see going to Gemma. I do hope that she doesn't go to Manrika for the reason of I love when a player who's blocked goes and sees someone and gives them information, whether it's right or wrong. I don't care because that is like your last influence on the game.
Yeah.
And so she goes to Manrika. Manrika already knows everything that Tally's thinking. So we're just going to get like oh my God, you're real geezer girls. We're going to go out and get drunk after this type of thing. Like, it'll be really exciting for the two of them when they do meet. However, I think for like the game player in me, I am with you.
Her. I really hope she sees Gemma.
And that would be so fun too.
Oh, electric.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm hoping it's Gemma. And then my next guess would be Manrika.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
That's where we're at.
Great. Do we want to like? I know we've been talking for a while. Do we want to like do our own like top 3 who's in like the best position right now at the end of these episodes?
Yeah, I've been asking people to give me at the end who their favorite player is.
Okay, cool.
They think is going to win based off of who's currently in the circle because we don't know if new people are going to come in or not.
Yes, well, they will. We just don't know who they are yet.
I mean, that's the thing is like this season is actually, I think, 2/3 of the. I think it's only on for 3 weeks, or is it 4? I can't. I've read between this Celebrity UK Circle, the Challenge All Stars, and then there's a US version. All of the dates and numbers are mixed up in my head. So
I don't know why, but I'm thinking like
I think it's on for 4 weeks.
April 12th.
Is the last day
around
for this?
there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we're actually 2 weeks. I think we're at the halfway point.
Okay.
So yeah,
which is crazy. So much has happened.
I know.
I love the circle so much.
All right. So who is your favorite? I think I could guess.
I mean, my favorite is Saeed.
My
favorite is Hashu as Saeed. I think he's playing a great game. I want to put him in my pocket. I want to hang out with him. I love him. So here's he is my favorite. Am I favorite to win right now? Man, oh man. I'll say Manrika. I think she's got. I think she's got her work cut out for her right now, but I'd say Manrika, and I think one of the best things for Manrika's game is if Felix goes sooner than later. Even though like that's a loyal number for her, I think that he's kind of thrown her off her game a little bit recently.
Mhm.
And I think the best thing for her game would be if Felix isn't long for the game.
Mhm.
But that's my pick right now.
I wish I kept track of who I've said at the end of these because I've probably changed my answer every time. I do think that, well, obviously Manrika is my favorite. Like,
yes, of course.
I do think that Manrika is almost going to get like a free round here because I think that people are going to feel so bad for her that she's like lost her number one. That I think that kind of how like Tally got a little bit of sympathy and like
after the clone.
Yeah, after the whole clone thing, like she's been through a lot already. We don't need to. I think that this is like Manrika's turn for like she just went through a lot, so we're going to spare her for a bit. I just don't think Manrika wins because she's so good. And that's one of the things I struggle with the circle is I think it's hard to have the best player to win, but I also think it takes like, it's not just someone winning, but what did the other final four do to not win? And I just think that Manrika could not win because she's so good that everyone will strategically rank her low.
Yeah.
I think that as of right now, I could see Andy winning. And the reason why is because, again, no one thinks he's a catfish. And he's had to make so many decisions that I think that he could he's more likely to slide by in people trying to be strategic because he is so genuine in his relationships, where I think Manrika is going to be seen more as like the player of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I almost went with Andy, but for the same reasons why like I'm unsure about Manrika is like this is not a good not a good time to be the front runner right now.
We really need someone.
This could be a situation where like I think we agree that, and if you disagree, then by all means tell me. But the two best players in the celebrity version were Denise and Rachel Riley, and then they like both got bombed in the last ratings, and like that's how Lady Lesher won, is because everyone voted her one because everyone was being strategic.
Yeah, I do think that I had a thought. Come on, Care. You can do this.
Get there.
Shit, it was something. Well, there's nothing. I don't know. No, I don't know what it was, but yeah, what it comes down to is I think, oh, I know what I was going to say. We need someone. We haven't seen it a lot yet. We've only seen it in Desperation, but like Gemma stepping up and kind of being like, my back is literally against the wall. I'm going to take big swings. I think as we get closer to the finals, kind of like how in the last UK season, we saw that three come together somewhat last minute to run the game and like take big swings at the people who are more likely to win. I don't know who is that person besides Gemma right now. Maybe Scott, aka Dot. I could see like, you know what I mean? But otherwise, I think maybe Saeed, I could see trying to like slyly shift into that. But until we get more than one person who's willing to like fuck shit up, I could see someone like Andy winning. I don't know if big guns get taken out otherwise.
It'll be interesting. Maybe someone we haven't even met yet wins.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a new player won last season, so
it's true.
Well, I mean, not the celebrity, but season 2.
Yep.
All right, I think we have exhausted these 4 episodes. I think we have gone over them very in depth. Do you have anything you would like to share with the Silent Podcast community before we sign off of this thing?
No, this has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed this. If you want to continue to follow my takes on things, slash just me simping for people that I like. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at MJCSZN. For all you Canadian people out there, SZN if you're in the States, like the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this was I appreciate you inviting me on. I will admit that I was hoping you would invite me on when I wrote that message to you, and I'm like, maybe Carrie needs to know that I'm watching and would love to come on the podcast. And so I'm shameless, and I really enjoyed this. So
I mean, you're welcome to come on whenever. Just let me know. I'm so caught up in my own little world sometimes. I have a bunch of shit going on over here that like it does take you being like, hey, so Billy's mom can like soccer. I'm like, oh, you want to come talk about this? Like it does sometimes take that like whack upside the head to get me to realize things, and I'm okay admitting that. It's fine. Well, I genuinely appreciate that you came on here. I was excited because we've done this before. Plus, we have the banter and rapport to
we got bands. we got bands for days.
Do. So I was super excited about it. I think we crushed it. I had so much fun. So next
my days, I agree. That's another one of my favorite Englishisms. Oh my days. It's a very Saeed and Tally thing to say.
Yes. I personally love when they busted out Bab because I've worked with people from Birmingham, which is where like Manrika and Andy are from. And when my friend said that for the first time, I was like, what the fuck is a Bab? And she's like, oh, it's just kind of like what you call people. I'm like, okay. And then like seeing her say that, I'm like, okay, cool. But our schedule for next week is going to be a little weird. I'm actually not going to say this, but our schedule next week might be a little weird, especially because I don't think that there's an episode on this weekend. Normally they just take Saturday off.
Monday.
Yeah, they said the end of the last one Monday night. So it wouldn't be worth coming on for just one episode on Tuesday. So expect a remix if you're used to our Tuesday, Saturday schedule, but we'll keep you updated. Follow Isaiah on Twitter. Oh shit, I should maybe give his handle right now. He is 8 as in the number, not the past tense of eat. Ball as in we love the ball in our court. Bangers with an S. So 8 ball bangers. Follow him. He tweets out what's going on in our schedule. So he'll give you the lowdown on what's coming up. But again, this was a blast. If you listen to all of this, God bless you.
God bless.
Yeah, you deserve some sort of award. If
this
you want
is jokes.
Yeah, I can like tag you in a tweet or something. You can print it out. We can put it on a coffee mug, like whatever. It's fine. We'll make it work. But again, thank you for listening. We will catch you the next time, whenever that is. And again, I'm here on behalf of Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. Catch you next time.